The Lord continued, "Such is the Lord who is fit to be worshipped constantly by holy ones. It is he indeed who is worshipped by wise men in various ways and in various forms, such as Shiva, Vishnu, etc. Now listen to the ways in which he is to be worshipped." Worship of the gods is important in Hinduism. There are lots of ways of doing it. A very common one is through puja, and this is mentioned in the next couple of paragraphs. Well, the next paragraph is contemplation, just by thinking about it through a kind of inquiry, and the next paragraph is about realization. First of all, one should abandon the body idea, the notion that I am this body. You can certainly look into it and query it. This is the way to abandon it, to realize that this idea of having a body is entirely notional and doesn't really stand up under scrutiny. So you can inquire thoroughly into this notion, and in this way your identity with this notion becomes weaker and weaker. Meditation alone is true worship, and we should be careful. This isn't just about sitting in blissful meditation. Although if you've done a lot of meditation, you might find it not very blissful. Hence, one should constantly worship the Lord of the three worlds by means of meditation. How should one contemplate him? He is pure intelligence. He is as radiant as 100,000 suns risen together. He is the light that illumines all lights. He is the inner light. The limitless space is his throat. The firmament is his feet. The directions are his arms. The worlds are the weapons he bears in his hands. The entire universe is hidden in his heart. The gods are hairs in his body. The cosmic potencies are the energies in his body. Time is his gatekeeper, and he has thousands of heads, eyes, ears, and arms. He touches all, he tastes all, he hears all, he thinks through all, though he is beyond thinking. He does everything at all times. He bestows whatever one thinks of or desires. He dwells in all. He is the all. He alone is to be sought by all. Thus should one contemplate him. This is the cosmic body. There is no part of our life which is separate from this. If you're religious, you tend to have your religion in one part of your life, and other parts you just forget about it. And if you're a spiritual practitioner, it's the same. You have your half hour or an hour of meditation, you might study some scripture, but then you get on with just doing your usual stuff. But if you're serious about it, if you really want to pursue this, then there's every opportunity to turn to the self, to the Supreme Self. He touches all, he tastes all. This doesn't mean to say that he touches everybody. It's what is doing the touching, it's what is doing the tasting, it's what is doing the hearing, and so on. And this is going on all the time. We can touch this all the time. We can realize this at any opportunity, any moment. And then what do? This Lord is not to be worshipped by material substances, but by one's own consciousness. You direct your attention to it, to this, and you might think, well, direct it to what? You don't know what to direct it to. Direct it to itself. Not by waving of lamps, nor lighting incense, nor by offering flowers, nor even by offering food or sandal paste. This is the Hindu puja. He is attained without the least effort. He is worshipped by self-realization alone. The only valid practice is self-realization. And this is when you realize the nature of your own awareness. The trouble is, the difficulty is we're always looking for something. You might have given up looking for something outside. You might have given up, if you're a Hindu, you might have given up worshipping the gods. You might have turned inside. You might have nice feelings sometimes. You might even feel blissful. But what is this self-realization? It's not about feeling blissful. What is it we're talking about here? This contemplation of the Lord, which is the whole cosmos. How can we realize that? We keep looking. We've given up looking outside. We might be looking inside. But what is it that the Yoga Vasishta is talking about here? You have to turn the whole thing around and look at what is looking. It might seem like nothing at first. It might seem too trivial even. But this is exactly what the Yoga Vasishta is talking about. This is what it's referring to. This is the supreme meditation. This is the supreme worship. The continuous and unbroken awareness of the indwelling presence, inner light or consciousness. While doing whatever one is doing, seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving, sleeping, breathing or talking, one should realize one's essential nature as pure consciousness. Thus does one attain liberation. This is the practice of liberation. Meditation is the offering. Meditation is the water offered to the deity to wash his hands and feet. Self-knowledge gained through meditation is the flower. Indeed, all these are directed towards meditation. And meditation here is inquiry, self-inquiry. The self is not realized by any means other than meditation, and here it must mean inquiry. If one is able to meditate even for 13 seconds, even if one is ignorant, one attains the merit of giving away a cow in charity. So this is obviously aimed at those who perform traditional Hindu practices. If one does so for 101 seconds, the merit is that of performing a sacred rite. If the duration is 12 minutes, the merit is 1,000-fold. If the duration is of a day, one dwells in the highest realm. This is the supreme yoga. This is the supreme Kriya, action or service. One who practices this mode of worship is worshipped by the gods and the demons and all other beings. However, this is external worship. I wonder what's meant by that. Well, certainly this description of merit is of no interest to the spiritual practitioner. One gets the impression that it's aimed at those who perform traditional religious practices in the hope that they'll move on to the culmination of self-realization in due course. But certainly meditation in the sense of self-inquiry cannot be described as external worship. We'll find out what's meant by internal worship in the next chapter.